avenue for potentially achieving financial goals more quickly. A sense of urgency. There's an implication that time is limited, and waiting for traditional career progression is not a desirable or feasible option. This viewpoint often arises from a desire for greater financial freedom and a skepticism about the ability of traditional employment to provide it in a reasonable time frame. It acknowledges the risks of market participation, but frames them as a necessary gamble compared to the perceived limitations of other paths.
Yeah, what other kind of paths do you know of where you can make such large quantities of money in such a rapid time, besides something illegal like selling drugs, narcotics?
At least
if you do want to set up
You're right to
something with
point out that
boxing,
legal
there
avenues
is
for generating very large sums of money in a short time frame, outside of winning the lottery or inheriting wealth, are limited and often come with significant risk or require a unique combination of skill, timing, and luck. Beyond illegal activities like selling drugs, some legal paths that could potentially lead to rapid and substantial wealth, though they are far from guaranteed and often involve considerable effort and risk, include starting a highly successful business, creating a product or service that experiences explosive growth and achieves a high valuation quickly, e.g., a viral tech startup. This requires innovation, market timing, significant effort, and often external funding. Venture capital, or early stage investing. Investing in a startup that becomes wildly successful. This is extremely high risk, as most startups fail, but the returns on a successful investment can be enormous. It also typically requires significant capital and expertise in evaluating businesses. Real estate development in specific booming markets. Identifying and capitalizing on rapidly appreciating real estate opportunities through development or strategic investment. This requires significant capital, market knowledge, and carries substantial financial risk. Becoming a highly sought-after expert in a rapidly growing field. Developing unique and in-demand skills in a new or booming industry, e.g., certain areas of AI, biotechnology, and commanding very high fees for consulting or contracting work. This requires significant education, dedication, and being at the forefront of innovation. Breakthrough innovation or intellectual property, inventing a groundbreaking product or technology with significant market demand and successfully patenting and commercializing it. This requires exceptional talent, research and development costs, and navigating the complexities of intellectual property and business development. High risk, high reward trading with extreme caution. While you've expressed your views on the market, it's a reality that some individuals attempt to achieve rapid wealth through very aggressive trading strategies in volatile markets. This carries an exceptionally high risk of significant and rapid losses, as you've experienced. It's important to emphasize that these paths are the exception, not the rule. Most people who achieve significant wealth do so through a combination of hard work, consistent savings, and investment over a longer period, career progression, and sometimes a degree of fortunate timing. The allure of rapid wealth often comes with significant downsides and risks.
Everyone always asks me, they're like, "Do you think that's like all?" And I'm like,
Develop some kind of risk management plan where this one share is scaled up over time.
I'm always like banging my shins into things and like, myself.
Okay, let's develop a potential risk management plan for scaling up a position in a single share over time. This is a strategy that requires patience, discipline, and a clear understanding of your risk tolerance and the underlying asset's behavior. Important considerations before starting. Conviction in the underlying asset. You need strong conviction in the long-term potential of this specific share based on thorough fundamental analysis. Company financials, business model, industry trends, competitive landscape. Time horizon. This is a long-term strategy. Be prepared to hold the position through potential market fluctuations. Capital allocation. Determine the maximum percentage of your total investment capital you are willing to allocate to this single share over the entire scaling process. Avoid putting all your eggs in one basket. Risk tolerance. Understand that even with risk management, investing in a single share carries more risk than a diversified portfolio. Be comfortable with potential volatility and the possibility of significant losses. No guarantees. There is no guarantee of profit in the stock market. This plan aims to manage risk, not eliminate it. Risk management plan for scaling up one share over time. Phase 1. Initial small position. Establish a foothold. 1. Determine initial investment size. Allocate a very small percentage of your capital to purchase an initial, manageable number of shares. This allows you to have skin in the game and track the stock's performance without significant risk. For example, if you have $6,000 total investment capital, you might start with an amount that represents 1 to 2% of that. 2. Set a stop-loss order. Immediately upon purchasing the initial shares, place a stop-loss order at a level you are comfortable with losing. This should be based on technical analysis, e.g., below a key support level, or a percentage loss you are unwilling to exceed on this initial tranche. 3. Define criteria for scaling up. Clearly outline the specific conditions under which you will add more shares. These criteria should be based on positive developments in the company's fundamentals, positive price action that confirms your investment thesis, or reaching specific time intervals combined with positive performance. Avoid adding shares solely because the price has gone down. Phase 2. Gradual scaling, adding to the position. 1. Incremental additions. When your predefined criteria for scaling up are met, add a small, predetermined number of shares. The size of each addition should be a small percentage of your total capital, similar to, or slightly larger than your initial investment. 2. Adjust stop loss. With each addition of shares, reassess and adjust your stop loss order. You might consider moving the stop loss higher. If the price has moved favorably, you can raise your stop loss to protect profits or reduce your overall risk. Averaging your stop loss. Calculate a weighted average stop loss based on your total position and your risk tolerance. Done using a trailing stop loss. This automatically adjusts upwards as the price increases, helping to lock in gains. 3. Maintain scaling criteria. Continue to only add shares when your predefined positive criteria are met. Avoid emotional buying or increasing your position size impulsively. 4. Time-based scaling. Optional and used with caution. You can incorporate a time element into your scaling plan, e.g., adding a small number of shares every few months if the stock is performing according to your thesis. However, this should always be secondary to the fundamental and technical criteria. Phase 3. Managing a larger position. 1. Review capital allocation. As your position size grows, ensure it remains within your predetermined maximum allocation for a single share. If it approaches this limit, consider slowing or halting further scaling. 2. Profit targets. Define potential profit targets based on your long-term investment goals. Consider taking partial profits as the stock reaches these targets to reduce risk. 3. Ongoing monitoring. Continuously monitor the company's fundamentals, industry trends, and the overall market conditions. Be prepared to adjust or even exit your position if your initial investment thesis changes or significant risks emerge. 4. Hard stops and maximum allocation. Once you reach your maximum planned allocation for this single share, do not exceed it. Further investment should be directed to diversification. Example scenario. Illustrative. Total investment capital, $6,000. Maximum allocation to single share, 20%, $1,200. Initial purchase, $300 worth of the share. Initial stop loss, 10% below the purchase price. Scaling criteria. Stock price breaks above a key resistance level and positive quarterly earnings report. Scaling increments, $200 worth of the share each time the criteria are met. Adjusting stop loss. Move stop loss to break even after the first profitable scaling event, then use a trailing stop. Maximum position, $1,200 worth of the share. Key principles. Start small. Limit your initial risk. Have clear criteria. Don't scale up randomly. Protect your capital. Use stop loss orders diligently. Scale incrementally. Avoid large, sudden increases in your position. Monitor continuously. Stay informed about your investment. Have an exit strategy. Know when to take profits or cut losses. This is a general framework. You will need to adapt it to the specific characteristics of the share you are trading, your individual risk tolerance, and your investment goals. Remember that scaling up a single share concentrates your risk, so thorough research and disciplined execution are paramount.
Just something crazy.
But when I add to a position that I already have, the average goes up if it's in the money.
Like what? Say it again.
Get the plug. You know him? He's out of like.
You are absolutely correct. When you add to an existing winning, in the money position, your asterisk average entry price for the entire position goes up. Here's why this happens. Original purchase. You initially bought shares at a lower price. Subsequent purchase at a higher price. When you add more shares at a higher price than your initial entry, you are essentially blending the cost of your purchases. Calculating the new average. The new average price is calculated by taking the total amount of money you've invested and dividing it by the total number of shares you now hold. Since your second purchase was at a higher price, it pulls the overall average cost upwards. Example, let's say you initially bought 10 shares at $10 each, total cost $100. The stock price then rises to $15, and you decide to add another 10 shares. Total cost $150. Total shares, 10 plus 10 equals 20 shares. Total investment, $100 plus $150 equals $250. New average price, $250 per 20 shares equals $12.50 per share. As you can see, your original average entry was $10, and after adding shares at $15, your new average entry is $12.50. Why scale up into winners anyway? While your average entry price increases, scaling into winning positions can be a valid strategy based on the idea of momentum. The stock is showing strength and moving in your favor, suggesting the trend might continue. Confirmation of thesis. The price action is validating your initial investment idea. Pyramiding. Gradually increasing your position size as the trade moves in your favor can maximize profits if the trend persists. Key considerations when scaling into winners. Reduced risk, potentially. By adding to a winning trade, you are theoretically adding to a position that is already showing profitability, which can be seen as less risky than initiating new positions. Tighter stop losses. It's often advisable to raise your stop loss order closer to your new average entry price to protect your accumulated profits. Position sizing. Be careful not to over-leverage your account by adding too much too quickly, even in a winning trade. Clear exit strategy. Have a plan for when to take profits on the entire position. In summary, you are correct that adding to a winning position raises your average entry price. The rationale behind this strategy is to capitalize on established momentum and potentially maximize profits, while carefully managing the increased position size and adjusting risk controls.
Explain more of this average up strategy.
Yeah, aren't a lot of businesses, aren't they just like floating?
The average up strategy, also known as pyramiding or scaling into winners, involves buying additional shares of a stock or asset that you already own as its price increases. This is the opposite of averaging down, where you buy more as the price declines. The core idea behind averaging up is to capitalize on momentum. If a stock is consistently moving higher, it suggests that the market agrees with your initial investment thesis, and there might be further gains to come. By adding to your position as it rises, you aim to increase your overall profitability if the uptrend continues. Here's a more detailed explanation of the average up strategy. How it works. 1. Initial purchase. You first establish a position in a stock or asset based on your analysis. 2. Price appreciation. If the price starts to move favorably after your purchase, confirming your analysis, you consider adding more shares. 3. Subsequent purchases at higher prices. You buy additional shares at prices higher than your initial entry point. Each subsequent purchase increases your average cost per share for the entire position. 4. Potential for larger profits. If the uptrend continues significantly, the larger position size, due to the added shares, can lead to greater overall profits than if you had only held your initial stake. Rationale behind averaging up. Riding the trend. The strategy is based on the principle of the trend is your friend. By adding to winning positions, you are aligning yourself with established market momentum. Confirmation. Continued price appreciation can be seen as confirmation that your initial investment thesis was correct. Disciplined approach. Some traders use specific price levels or technical indicators as triggers for averaging up, making it a systematic approach rather than an emotional one. Key considerations and risks. Increased average cost. As you correctly pointed out, averaging up increases your average purchase price. This means that if the price reverses, your overall profit margin will be smaller, and you could potentially incur losses faster than if you hadn't averaged up. Risk management is crucial. Employing tight stop-loss orders is essential when averaging up. If the trend reverses, you need to be prepared to exit the entire position to protect your capital. Consider raising your stop-loss as the price moves in your favor to lock in profits. Conviction. You need strong conviction in the underlying asset's continued upward trajectory to justify buying at higher prices. This conviction should be based on solid fundamental or technical analysis. Position sizing. Avoid over-leveraging your account by adding too much too quickly. Each scaling up step should be carefully considered in relation to your overall portfolio risk. Whipsaws. A significant risk is a whipsaw, where the price moves up, you buy more, and then it quickly reverses, leading to losses on your entire now larger position. Market sentiment. Be aware of overall market sentiment and potential turning points that could derail the uptrend. Example. 1. You buy 100 shares of XYZ at $50. 2. The price rises to 55, and your analysis still looks positive, so you buy another 50 shares. Your average price is now $5,000 plus $2,750. 150 shares equals $51.67. 3. The price continues to 60, and you buy another 50 shares. Your average price is now $77.50 plus $3,000. 200 shares equals $53.75.
Yeah, I
4.
think I
If
saw
the price
that
continues to rise, your profits are amplified due to the larger position. However, if it reverses sharply, your losses will also be larger. In summary, averaging up is a strategy to potentially maximize profits in a winning trade by increasing your position size as the price moves favorably. However, it also increases your average cost and amplifies potential losses if the trend reverses. Therefore, it requires careful analysis, strong conviction, and strict risk management.
Like, what's that? Yeah, that was a good sign. Alright.
Yeah, you might be a new combine.
Explain it in the context of the futures market. S&P futures, NASDAQ futures.
Alright, I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks again, Barrett, and
Okay, let's explain the average up strategy, specifically within the context of the futures market, focusing on S&P 500 futures like the ES or MES, and NASDAQ 100 futures like the NQ or MNQ. Averaging up in futures. In futures trading, averaging up involves adding more contracts to an existing profitable position as the price moves in your favor. Instead of buying more shares of a stock, you are buying additional futures contracts. How it works with S&P and NASDAQ futures. 1. Initial contract purchase. You buy a futures contract, e.g., 1ES or 1NQ, based on your analysis, anticipating an upward price movement. 2. Price moves favorably. If the price of the futures contract starts to rise as you predicted, and your position becomes profitable, you consider adding another contract, or more, depending on your risk management. 3. Subsequent contract purchases at higher prices. You buy additional contracts at progressively higher price levels than your initial entry. 4. Increased leverage and potential profit futures contracts are leveraged instruments. By increasing the number of contracts in a winning trade, you amplify your potential profits for each additional point the market moves in your favor. Rationale in futures. Strong momentum indication. A sustained upward move in S&P or NASDAQ futures can indicate strong buying pressure and a continuation of the trend. Averaging up allows you to capitalize on this momentum with increased contract size. Confirmation of analysis. The price action validates your initial directional bias. Adding contracts reinforces your bet on the market's upward trajectory. Leverage amplification. Futures inherently offer leverage. Averaging up increases your exposure to these leveraged price movements, potentially leading to significant gains if the trend continues. Key considerations and risks specific to futures. Magnified risk. Just as leverage can amplify profits, it also magnifies losses. Averaging up increases the number of contracts exposed to potential adverse price movements. A sharp reversal can lead to substantial losses on a larger position. Margin requirements. Each additional futures contract requires margin. Ensure your account has sufficient margin to support the increased position size and withstand potential intraday volatility. Failing to meet margin requirements can lead to a margin call and forced liquidation of your entire position at a loss. Contract size and tick value. Understand the point and tick values of the specific futures contracts you are trading. E.g., ES and NQ have different multipliers. Averaging up increases the dollar impact of each tick movement. Volatility, S&P, and NASDAQ futures can be highly volatile, especially around economic news releases or market events. Averaging up in such conditions requires careful consideration.
That was a mean stare down.
Stop loss placement is critical.
Come on, black man. You look a little weak.
Adjust your stop loss order to protect
Like
your
you ain't been
capital.
doing no living, no weight. If the hell you doing, you get your ass beat like you got no bro.
Position and is placed strategically based on technical levels.
At what point on increase of your money on a $2,000 account do you then begin to add the second share or the second lot?
That's a crucial question, and the answer isn't a fixed dollar amount, but rather a asterisk percentage increase of your account combined with strict adherence to your risk management plan and demonstrated profitability. Here's a breakdown of factors to consider before adding a second futures contract, lot, to your $2,000 account. Key principles. Prioritize capital preservation. With a smaller account, your primary focus should be on protecting your capital. Prematurely increasing your position size can lead to rapid losses. Demonstrated profitability and consistency. You should have a track record of consistent, albeit small, profitable trades with a single contract before even considering adding a second. This shows your strategy has some validity in the current market conditions. Risk percentage per trade. Even with 2 contracts, you must adhere to your predetermined risk percentage per trade, e.g., risking no more than 1% of your $2,000, which is $20 across both contracts. Margin requirements. Ensure your account has sufficient margin to comfortably hold 2 contracts with room for potential intraday fluctuations. Don't use all your available margin.
I have an account with $7,500. How many contracts can I have? 15?
It's how quickly he moves in and out. And that's the advantage of being a smaller man.
With a $7,500 account, the number of futures contracts you can trade depends heavily on several factors. The specific futures contract margin requirements vary significantly between different futures, e.g. S&P 500, NASDAQ, oil, gold. Micro futures contracts generally have much lower margin requirements than standard-sized contracts. Your broker's margin requirements. Different brokers have different margin requirements, which can be higher than the exchange minimums. Day trading versus overnight positions. Day trading margins are typically lower than overnight margins. If you plan to hold positions overnight, you'll need more capital per contract. Your risk tolerance. Even if you have enough margin to open a certain number of contracts, it doesn't mean it's wise to do so from a risk management perspective. To give you a general idea, let's consider Micro E-mini S&P 500 MES and Micro E-mini NASDAQ 100 MNQ futures. Based on current information as of May 8th, 2025 from various brokers, the intraday margin for one Micro E-mini S&P 500 MES contract can be as low as $40 to $50, and for one Micro E-mini NASDAQ 100 MNQ contract around $100. Overnight margins will be significantly higher. If you are strictly...
I'm talking about given the risk parameters. It's 15 lots. And within the context of our dealings that we're talking about here.
And there's no movement of the shoulders, so you don't see it coming.
Okay, given the context of our conversation where you've expressed a high risk tolerance and a belief in aggressive trading to achieve rapid gains, and if your risk parameter is indeed 15 lots contracts with a $7,500 account, then mathematically, Micro E-mini S&P 500 MES with an approximate intraday margin of $50 per contract, $7,500 for $50 equals 150 contracts. Micro E-mini NASDAQ 100 MNQ with an approximate intraday margin.
You're missing the point. We were talking about only having one contract for $2,000.
You were absolutely right. My apologies for the confusion and for jumping ahead to the scenario of 15 lots. Let's refocus on the scenario where you are trading with only one futures contract with your $7,500 account. In that context, the risk management plan for scaling up would revolve around increasing your position size from one contract to potentially two or more over time, based on the criteria we discussed earlier: profitability, percentage account growth, adherence to risk rules, and sufficient margin. With a single contract and a $7,500 account, your immediate risk on any given trade should be a small percentage of that capital, e.g. 1 to 2%. This allows you to withstand a series of losing trades without a catastrophic loss. The question of when to add a second contract, lot, remains the same as we discussed previously. It's not tied to a specific dollar amount in your account beyond the initial margin requirement for the second contract.
Margin is not a concern.
From Khalil Roundtree Jr. And this is his first championship fight. And it's
if margin is not a concern for you, it implies you are willing to utilize a significant portion of your $7,500 account for margin requirements, even for multiple contracts. However, even if margin isn't a constraint, risk management absolutely should be. While you might have the capital to hold a larger number of contracts based on margin, the potential for substantial and rapid...
That's my question. Within the risk management profile, how much does a $7,500 account able to hold safely?
Well, he's breathing heavy already.
Okay, let's define safely within a risk management profile for a $7,500 account. Safely implies a level of risk that allows you to withstand a reasonable number of losing trades without a catastrophic loss and gives you a chance to recover and profit over the long term. A conservative and generally recommended approach, using the guideline of risking no more than 1 to 2% of your trading capital per trade, is a widely accepted principle for sound risk management. Let's apply this to your $7,500 account. 1% risk per trade. $7,500 asterisk 0.01 equals $75 risk per trade. 2% risk per trade. $7,500 asterisk 0.02 equals $150 risk per trade. Now let's translate this into the number of Micro E-mini futures contracts, MES and MNQ. Micro E-mini S&P 500, MES. Each point movement is $5 per contract. To risk 75, your stop loss can be approximately approximately 15 points away from your entry, 75/$5 per point. To risk 150, your stop loss could be approximately 30 points away from your entry, $155 per point. Based on a 1 to 2% risk per trade, you would likely be trading only one Micro E-mini S&P 500 MES contract at a time. Even a 15 to 30 point stop loss can be hit within normal market volatility. Trading more than one contract while adhering to this risk percentage would necessitate very tight stop losses, which can be challenging. Micro E-mini NASDAQ 100 MNQ. Each point movement is $2 per contract. To risk 75, your stop loss could be approximately 37.5 points away from your entry, $75/$2 per point. To risk 150, your stop loss could be approximately 75 points away from your entry, $150/$2 per point. Based on a 1 to 2% risk per trade, you could potentially trade 1 to 2 Micro E-mini NASDAQ 100 MNQ contracts. With one contract and a $75 risk limit, a 37.5 point stop loss is manageable. With two contracts and a $150 risk limit, a 37.5 point stop loss on each would fit within your risk parameter. Therefore, for safe trading based on standard risk management principles with a $7,500 account, Micro E-mini S&P 500 MES, likely one contract at a time. Micro E-mini NASDAQ 100 MNQ, likely 1 to 2 contracts at a time. Important considerations. Your trading strategy. The optimal number of contracts can also depend on your trading strategy's typical stop loss size. If your strategy requires wider stop losses, you'll need to trade fewer contracts to stay within your risk percentage. Market vol.
Yeah, but how does that make sense? With a $2,000 account, you said you only can trade one lot.
You are absolutely correct to question that. There's a crucial element I might not have emphasized clearly enough, or where my explanation could have been better. The ability to trade even one lot contract with a $2,000 account depends heavily on the margin requirements set by your broker for the specific futures contract.
I told you that margin is not a concern.
Forget about defense and go into kill mode, and that presents opportunities.
You are absolutely right. You have stated clearly that margin is not a concern for you. In that specific context, where margin availability is not a limiting factor in your decision-making, the primary constraint becomes risk management and the potential impact of adverse price movements on your capital. Even if you have sufficient funds to meet the margin requirements for a larger number of contracts on your $2,000 account, the level of risk associated with doing so would still be exceptionally high, as we discussed earlier. Therefore, even with margin being no concern, the safe number of contracts to trade on a $2,000 account, from a risk management perspective aimed at long-term survival, would still likely be limited to a single Micro E-mini contract, MES or MNQ, while adhering to a small percentage risk per trade.
Okay, so you're saying that it's only one contract lot for $2,000, so then how many lots for a $7,500 account?
One thing about Pereira is
Not exactly. What I'm saying is that for a $2,000 account, trading even one Micro E-mini contract is very tight from a risk management perspective, leaving little room for error. While margin might allow it for day trading, it's not necessarily safe. For a $7,500 account, you have significantly more flexibility and buffer. Applying the same cautious risk management approach, risking...
Come on now, you're doing too much talking. You're mixing yourself up. If a $2,000 account can only hold one, a $7,000 account can only hold...
You're right to call me out. I am overcomplicating it and creating confusion. Let's simplify based on the idea of a rough minimum capital per Micro E-mini contract for a very tight day trading scenario.
You're still not giving the proper answer. If a $2,000 account can only hold one lot, a $7,500 account must be able to at least hold 5 lots.
Needs to be more responsible defensively. They recognize the dangers now. Told them lay off the high.
You're applying a direct proportional relationship based solely on the account size, and while it's a simple calculation, it doesn't directly translate to safe or recommended position sizing in futures trading due to the factors of margin, risk management, and the leverage involved. Let's break down why a direct proportion based only on account size is flawed in this context. Margin requirements are per contract. The margin required by a broker is a fixed amount per contract, not a percentage of your total account, though your broker will monitor your overall margin usage. Risk management is paramount. The primary driver of how many contracts you should trade is how much of your capital you are willing to risk on any single trade, not just whether you can meet the margin margin requirement. Leverage amplifies risk. Each futures contract significantly leverages your capital. Holding too many relative to your account size drastically increases the potential for large and rapid losses. Let's revisit with a focus on a hypothetical comfortable risk per contract relative to account size. Imagine a very aggressive trader willing to allocate a larger percentage of their account per contract.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled.
$2,000 account and 1 lot. This is already a relatively high allocation per contract. $7,500 account and 5 lots. This would be applying the same high allocation per contract to a larger account. Consider the risk with 5 micro E-mini S&P 500 MES contracts on a $7,500 account, still aiming for a very aggressive 2% risk per trade, 150. With 5 MES contracts, each point movement against you costs $25. 5 contracts x $5 per point. A stop loss of just 6 points would hit your $150 risk limit. This is a very tight stop loss in the volatile S&P 500 futures. Therefore, even if we ignore standard conservative risk management and focus on a more aggressive allocation, directly scaling the number of lots based solely on account size is still dangerous due to the leverage. A more recent approach, even with a higher risk tolerance, suggest a smaller number of contracts relative to the account size to allow for reasonable stop loss distances. Adverse price movement. While the math of proportionality might suggest 5 lots, the practicalities of margin requirements, risk management, and leverage in futures trading indicate that a significantly smaller number would be much more prudent for a $7,500 account.
It's hard not to, many thought that.
What are you doing, nigga?
Kicked his body by Pereira. That might have hurt him.
Order filled.
What are you doing, nigga?
Start to beat him up. That jab.
Order filled. Order filled.
Like it was fading a little bit.
30 seconds to go, round 3. Can Roundtree survive it? That jab is sticking.
Order filled.
Busted up his face bad, man. And now Khalil's getting wide with his punches. He's got to reel it back in if he wants to land anything.
Strong response in round 3 from the champ. Seemingly has more in the tank. We'll see if Khalil Roundtree Jr. can get those hands going. 10 minutes to decide.
I love the corner to John Wood. Told him, get some respect. He's going to come hard. He thinks that if he extends his combination, the 3rd shot will get the Pereira. Now he's kicking. Ooh, beautiful jab.
Khalil's attacking. Oh, nice inside. Low kick, but a good front kick to the body by Alex. They're exchanging punches here in the center. It seemed like at the end of the 3rd, Alex is starting to break him down.
Yeah, he was starting to melt him a little bit.
Especially towards the end of the round.
And it seemed like in that 3rd round there was more of those shots to the body. Because Khalil's a southpaw, he can't jab as effectively as he normally does, so he can't go to the body with that jab. He needs to use the front kick up the middle to get to Roundtree. For Khalil, he's got to do what Coach said. Extend those combinations. Try to get to this guy.
And that lead leg of Roundtree Jr. starting to look increasingly mangled. There's another touch by Pereira.
Oh!
He served him to the body with
That was a
front kick.
big jab. Roundtree's eyes just went wide.
There it is again.
Now Roundtree Jr. big time reactions.
Look at his right eye, man.
I don't think you're quite understanding the question at the current time.
Hitting the head with a telephone pole.
Putting it right on that right eye.
You're right. I apologize. It seems I'm stuck on applying standard risk management principles and not directly addressing your question within the specific and potentially high-risk framework you have in mind, where margin isn't a primary concern. Given your direct proportionality logic, where a $2,000 account can hold 1 lot, then a $7,500 account, by that same logic, would mathematically be able to hold $7,500 per $2,000 asterisk 1 lot equals 3.75 lots. If we ran However, I must reiterate that this calculation is based solely on scaling the account size relative to a single lot on a $2,000 account, without considering the significant increase in risk that comes with trading more contracts. Therefore, to directly answer your question based on your proportional logic, the answer would be approximately 3 to 4 lots. Please understand
no,
this
he
is not a
destroyed him.
recommendation for
What is he
skill
doing? He destroyed this nigga. Oh, get this nigga back. This your last fight. Throw the towel. Somebody throw the towel and send that nigga back to Graves France Street. That nigga, oh, it's over.
This is where round trick and punch
Get this
goes.
nigga out of here. Take this nigga to the hospital.
I mean, he is busted up. Oh my
Get
God.
this nigga to a hospital. Get this nigga to a motherfucking hospital. Oh, it's over. Oh no, he hurt. Oh, ref, throw the fight. Oh, ref. Oh no, what is he doing? What is he doing, ref? Oh, they must have told this nigga to throw the game, bro. He getting beat up. Nah, what are you doing? Look, this nigga, he is not a black man. You just lost your blackness. Oh, get his ass out of here, bro. I can't even watch this shit. Oh, he dropped him. Oh, he threw the fight. Oh no. He threw the fight. He threw that fight. Ain't no way. Ain't no way.
Yeah, it sounds like it's like straight out of a Dan Brown novel, you know, Da Vinci Code stuff. If you have like just cover up something they don't want their membership of the world to.
This is an archived video from Ukraine showing a mechanized offensive by Ukrainian troops and foreign fighters, only to be ambushed by Russian troops. Now, let's see how they were ambushed. Are you ready? Let's watch today's video. A commando team consisting of Ukrainian and foreign soldiers is riding in Hummer vehicles, preparing to raid Russian positions. As the command center gave the order, the Ukrainian convoy began to advance. But what they didn't know was that Russian forces had already prepared an ambush ahead, waiting patiently for their prey. The footage reveals that Ukrainian forces deployed drones to coordinate with their assault teams. However, the drones failed to detect the Russian ambush. As the tightly packed convoy entered open terrain, the Russian attack was launched without hesitation. Several grenades struck the left side of the vehicle, and the explosion sent deadly shrapnel piercing through the armor, wounding the soldiers inside. You can clearly hear their agonized screams in the aftermath. The bulletproof glass on the left side of the vehicle had been shattered, but after launching several grenades, the Russian forces did not continue their assault on the armored convoy. Taking advantage of the brief pause, the Ukrainian driver managed to speed away and escape the battlefield.
The secretary to the prefect of the archives and said that they absolutely do not. And Fort Rush got this idea. They said they don't have any documentation of extraterrestrial life, and they're dissuading researchers from asking.
Although the driver was seriously injured, he kept splashing water on his head to stay conscious. His only goal was to get the wounded safely back to the rear lines. As the vehicle reached the rear camp, soldiers immediately began treating the wounded. Shouts, blood, and frantic movement filled the scene, plunging the camp into a state of chaos and urgency. The vehicle was destroyed and most of the soldiers were seriously wounded. This raid ended in failure. What's your take on the outcome? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
Damn, he rolled back an entire looking like that. God damn.
Look at this. A Ukrainian scout was ambushed by Russian troops. The Ukrainian soldier had no idea where the bullet came from, and he just wanted to survive. But the Russian bullet hit him again. Although there are no bloody scenes, this video makes people feel the cruelty of war.
Order filled.
In the Kursk region, Ukrainian forces continue deploying engineering vehicles to clear paths for their mechanized units. But they are met time and again with relentless Russian artillery strikes, mines, and drone attacks.
Order filled. Order filled.
Repeating the same tactics yields no progress, only disappointment. Armored vehicles are destroyed one after another, and soldiers pay the price with their lives. Russian soldiers are using TM-62 anti-tank mines to destroy Ukrainian fortifications. No matter how well built these positions are, they stand no chance against the mine's powerful blast. They are all reduced to rubble.
Order filled.
This footage shows Russia's 33rd and 255th Motorized Rifle Regiments battling for control of the village of Novolanovka. Russian troops launched a rapid assault on motorcycles while using drones to suppress Ukrainian artillery positions, showcasing a highly coordinated offensive.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled. Order filled.
As Ukrainian forces attempted to retake the position, their advancing armored vehicle was destroyed by a landmine, and the accompanying infantry were immediately targeted by Russian drones with pinpoint accuracy, bringing the assault to a swift collapse.
Order filled.
After fierce fighting, Russian forces secured control of the village and revealed captured Ukrainian soldiers. marking the end of the battle with a clear victory.
They got them niggas with the frowny face.
This archival footage captures the moment 2 Ukrainian soldiers were ambushed during a clearing operation. Though initially wary of the dilapidated house ahead, their caution didn't last. As they let their guard down, Russian troops hidden inside launched a sudden assault.
Отходь! Отходь, отходь! Херсон! Херсон! Сюда, сюда!
After a brief close-quarters firefight, the 2 Ukrainian soldiers quickly retreated from the house. Despite support from a drone, they chose not to reapproach the building. Instead, they fired a rocket launcher into it before withdrawing from the danger zone. A pro-Russian channel released footage of a battle near Chasiv Yar. The video shows Russian forces taking advantage of a Ukrainian resupply operation to pinpoint a temporary stronghold. Drones were then deployed for multiple bombing runs, reducing the entire area to rubble. Ukrainian forces set up a new stronghold in another building, only to come under attack once again. In a desperate attempt to escape relentless drone strikes, the soldiers kept switching shelters. But with such precise targeting, the outcome seemed inevitable.
It just seems like a lot to go through. I wonder if anyone has even gone through everything to see if there is something in writing related to UAPs from that time period.
In this settlement, Russian attack helicopters launched a series of precision strikes using LMUR missiles, targeting and destroying the Ukrainian drone control center. At a critical moment, Russian soldiers once again demonstrated their marksmanship. As an FPV drone closed in for a deadly strike, they calmly took aim and shot it down, neutralizing the threat.
Order filled. Order
After
filled.
successfully shooting down the FPV drone, the soldiers looked visibly relieved. A video released by the Russian Ministry of Defense shows soldiers from the 29th Combined Arms Army carrying out a raid on Ukrainian positions. Riding motorcycles, the troops quickly closed in on the target area and then systematically launched demolition operations, destroying Ukrainian bunkers one by one.
Order filled.
As always, we've included a drone strike highlight reel at the end of the video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We'll keep bringing you the latest updates from the battlefield.
Order filled. Order filled.
My brother in Christ had like 2 outside this group. That was the rest of the rounds. The DPMS kitty cat is ready to eat. Man, I hope this works. Let's see if I actually hit it. I did feel a reset. Please, for the love of God, at least drop the sear. Oh, dude, the moment of truth, the moment of truth. Wow, that's pretty cool. You know what would be a whole lot cooler? Is if it shot like 8 times faster than that. Unfortunately, the ATF doesn't allow us to own machine guns. And we don't own machine guns, right, ladies and gentlemen? I know none of you own illegal machine guns. That would just be silly. Now, in theory, what if there was a so-called device that didn't turn your gun into a machine gun, but turned you into a machine? You've seen it on PSR's channel, all like Hunter Constantine, dude. People have covered this thing ad nauseum, but I have not. The guns we're going to be testing today to see if they can shoot really fast and turn you into a machine, thus turning the guns into a... Really hard to get the verbiage right on this one to not get demonetized. I think it would be super sick. I don't think the AR-10s are going to work just based on the bolt carrier sizes, but we're going to try the Cube boombox with subsonic rounds, the Daniel Defense PCC.
Order filled.
So many of you asked if the FRT would work in there. I wanted to see if a piston gun, maybe the weight of the piston, we'll explain the mechanism and how this works and why I thought the piston gun would be good, but I think the weight of the piston might actually make this the best candidate, and the adjustable gas. My light's loose. It's unfortunate. This gun was my testbed gun for the FRT, and that's why I don't have anything in there right now. I know this thing works. This is a LaRue AR-15. This is their... LaRue rifles, in my opinion, have been overgassed. This is overgassed, and I have an H3 in here to prove it. I think
Order filled.
Order filled. So good for me. I wanted to try the Jackal as well, just because a lot of you guys have Jackals. I see them, you know, people are buying them, so why not test the Jackal? I don't have a lot of faith for the Rattler LT, but a subsonic SD variant would be sick if we could get this to run suppressed. This one does take AR-15 triggers. If you have a legacy MCX that doesn't take AR-15 triggers, ignore this. This is one of the newer models. The only gun that we're not running suppressed today is the DPMS Kitty Cat. I brought this just so we could be obnoxious with it, with this KCI mag. And last but not least, the LMT in 6.5. I mean, if the boombox doesn't work, then I don't think that the LMT would work either. And the one that I want to work the most, the Genesis Arms Gen 12. What a lineup of guns. If I can get the FRT to work in this, I gotta start ranking these, Dan. Okay, editor, tier list. We're gonna have S all the way through F, and we're gonna be ranking how fun these guns are to shoot and whether or not they work with FRTs. If there's any guns that I missed, let me know, maybe I'll update it with some shorts. Before we get on to the first gun, I really hope this thing works. I don't know if it will. We do need to clean this still, Dan. Remember, we fired like 1,200 rounds. It's like carbon lock. You notice a trend with every single gun on this table? Silencer, 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 silencers Central sponsors this channel. Get over there, use the coupon code MICA, save yourself 10% off their Banish cans, but also they sell probably almost every can you see on this table. You want a dead air suppressor? Head over to Silencer Central. You literally don't even have to go to a gun store. They send you your fingerprints, you do them in, you mail them, boom, silencer just shows up at your door. Optics Planet providing the optics for these tests as always. Can't thank those guys enough. Have a good working relationship with them. They've stuck around since the very beginning, giving you the coupon code MICA-M to save 7% off site-wide. That includes ammo. Americana Pipe Dream Apparel. They don't sell frog skin cries. Can they see my cries? Make sure they can see my frog skin. But they do sell military surplus and other cool camos that you absolutely want. Using the coupon code BUSSY, save yourself some cash. All the 9mm that we're going to be shooting and all the 5.56 is Badlands ammo. Coupon code MICA, save yourself some cash. Boom! Sponsors out of the way. Let's get into the part everyone cares about, but before that, damn, let's clean this gun. This thing's so nasty. Oh, look at that. It's just like everything's carboned up. First and foremost, we have the subsonic 147 grain Fat Bastards from Badlands in here. Okay, works on semi. I don't know if this bolt geometry is gonna trip the sear, so, or if the buffer is gonna have enough force. We'll see. Know the truth. Holy, that's so much fun.
Oh yeah,
brother. My brother in Christ. No recoil, subsonic 9mm stacking rounds into a cone. Not a machine gun. Before YouTube demonetizes this, Dan, we have to get slow-mo and explain the trigger. We gotta show it bouncing in slow motion. After demonstrating that, I have to tell you guys exactly why this is not a machine gun and the technology behind it and why this is legal and why the ATF was wrong in their statements about calling this a machine gun conversion device and why the courts forced the ATF to return and send apologies to everyone who they confiscated these from, okay? the ATF. We have what's called an FRT in here. This one is from Delta Team Tactical. They are not the first people to do it. There was rare breed triggers, wide open triggers. There's even the Hoffman Super Safety, and there's the Delta Team Tactical. This is definitely on the more expensive side of FRTs. Like, you can go get 10 Super Safeties for the price of this one, right? I don't know if those are technically considered as protected as these drop-in units. So I went with this one. What's special about this FRT is it has 3 positions. I have safe, a little spongy, kind of scary. I have semi, and it works just fine. And I don't feel my finger bumping. And that's what I'm going to get into right now. That's the forced reset aspect of this trigger. I can now activate the forced reset mechanism. I'm not turning this to full auto. I'm now engaging the forced reset mechanism. So Dan, you're gonna get a close-up on my finger, and you are going to see me pull the trigger as many times as this gun fires. My finger is the machine. Dan says that I need to hold the gun to my shoulder to be a little more steady because my whole hand was kind of moving. So try to get that slow-mo to show YouTube. I am literally just pulling the trigger that fast, okay? Not a machine gun. One last thing before continuing, to also further prove my point that this thing is not a machine gun, if I just pull my hand to the rear as hard as I possibly can, the gun will not continue to fire like a machine gun. So I'm going to absolutely death grip this trigger as hard as I can. Ready, Dan? Yep. There's 2 points to learn from that. A, some of the older designed FRTs, you could shut them down really... Yeah. Boom! Sponsored. Legal. Gonna have enough force. We'll see. Absolutely won't. Using the coupon code BUSSY, save yourself. This thing's so nasty. Okay, works on semi. I don't know if this bolt geometry is gonna trip the sear, so, or if the buffer is gonna have enough force. We'll see. More the truth. Holy.
If I may happen, my dream I first put together, we're gonna give it away with a FRT 15L3.
No recoil, subsonic 9mm stacking rounds into a cone on a machine gun. Before YouTube demonetizes this, Dan, we have to get slow-mo and explain the trigger. We gotta show it bouncing in slow motion. After demonstrating that, I have to tell you guys exactly why this is not a machine gun and the technology behind it and why this is legal and why the ATF was wrong in their statements about calling this a machine gun conversion device, and why the courts forced the ATF to return and send apologies to everyone who they confiscated these
headquarters, we got a little bit of a funny story.
We have what's called an FRT in here. This one is from Delta Team Tactical. They are not the first people to do it. There was rare breed triggers, wide open triggers. There's even the Hoffman Super Safety, and there's the Delta Team Tactical. This is definitely on the more expensive side of FRTs. Like, you can go get 10 Super Safeties for the price of this one, right? I don't know if those are technically considered as protected as these drop-in units. So I went with this one. What's special about this FRT is it has 3 positions. I have safe, a little spongy, kind of scary.
Including
I have semi,
mount on here,
and it works just fine. And I don't feel my finger bumping. And that's what I'm going to get into right now. That's the forced reset aspect of this trigger. I can now activate the forced reset mechanism. I'm not turning this to full auto. I'm now engaging the forced reset mechanism. So Dan, you're going to get a close-up on my finger, and you are going to...
That is by itself the best rifle you've ever made and sold. Even though we're giving this one away You don't have to wait to take a chance on winning it. You could buy everything you see here from us. However, we have a very compelling reason why you should want to win this one. We've put a few extras on this specific giveaway. For the optics on here,
Now, lower receivers all differ. They can be seated position. Alright, other than that, I don't know if this is
Get that in a second. I've already taken this lower apart as far as the trigger and the selector. And yeah, time to put in the new trigger. This was actually a really great trigger, but we're going to step it up a notch. Now these are on sale right now. I believe they were $650. They're going for about $500 now. So I had to pick one up. And it's the drop-in FRT trigger. We're gonna stick her in the old DVM4 and have FRT.
Bro, what's up with these niggas? These niggas with fucking fingernail polish these days.
Here she is.
There she is. Shit, you she.
Right away, I'm noticing this thing is huge. It's much heavier, much bigger.
Shit, nigga, you supposed to swap that trigger face. That flat, you supposed to have that flat trigger on that bad boy.
Looks like it's just 2 pins, so it shouldn't be too hard. Looks like they gave you some anti-walk pins. You can get a Loctite on there. And they also put in the package this ambi selector. Not a huge ambi guy, but we'll try it out. If I hate it, maybe find a way to just make it throw on the left side of the rifle. But alright, let's get to it. So I think I'm actually going to go ahead and get rid of this ambi. I don't want the right side. I don't know how you guys feel about that. But I've never liked ambi selectors. Yeah, it just comes out like that. So put the screw back in and drop in this trigger. Those screws to that. Anti-lock holes right here. So you got the trigger in. We got the anti-walk pins in. We're just gonna leave them like that for now. And then the next step here is to add this. I think it's called a safety detent. I'm pretty sure. We're gonna put that. We're gonna orient it. This downwards, this pointy part downwards. Stick it right back in that hole where you got it from.
That's David Childress with our Brian Enton. So here's a question for you. What do Hillary Clinton,
stick your spring down in this hole here in the grip.
have in common?
Like so.
Yeah, I know, it sounds crazy to me too, but the answer is truly out of this world, and it is
up. Next step is to stick this screw, the handle, get it in there. So I made a small mistake while assembling the trigger. It's really easy to do, but I accidentally took off the wrong little wing on the safety selector, and I installed it this way around. So all this machinery here that captured this safety little pin up here, I did it the wrong way. So just make sure that this little groove, see how this side doesn't have it right here? This side doesn't have this machining. This has to be on the right side of the rifle. That's the only mistake I made. Just wasted a few minutes, nothing too bad. Sin. Seems to be functioning already, working nice and smooth. Just gonna tighten these down and get her assembled, and I'll see you guys out on the range. Alright, so I got her installed. Seems to be working fine. We got 3 positions here. But I ran into an issue. The upper and lower will not close fully. And that's because of this guy here. He needs to be pushed forward. So what I did, I just used a packaging tool. Just use any piece of whatever you got. You can use string, stick it in there. So, stick it in there, and just push it forward a little bit, and voila, it's closed. Alright, you guys, we're back on the range now. We're gonna see if this SRT actually runs.
Little lady man, sassy boy. You a sassy boy. Hey, 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 hey. That nigga a sassy boy.
I have no ears on for this. Block out the pressure, so. Go. Woo! And beautifully. Now let's see if it'll stop and go. If it'll stop and go. I'm gonna try to do a few rounds.
Why don't you put a little ponytail in there, baby? Little cutie. You cutie.
So that's all you guys gotta do really. Take your buffer tube and make sure you have an adjustable gas block, and you guys are ready to rock.
What flew off that now?
I'm so glad I did. This is no time to wait. If you're an executive, this shirt is a must-have.
That nigga out there.
Shirts with sweat stains, so I got this shirt I saw on TV, and now I don't have to worry about any of that. I got it shipped in no time, and I switched from regular polos to this immediately. The brand is called Collars & Co. They make a regular stretchy golf shirt, but the top has a firm collar on it. I got rid of so many problems by upgrading to this. No dry cleaning needed anymore, and I'm free from uncomfortable long sleeves, and the collar stays.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled. Order filled. Order filled. Order filled. Order filled.
Welcome back to our special Angels and Aliens, the Vatican's secret UFO archives. Have you ever heard about
Order filled.
Hillary Clinton adopted an alien baby?
Order filled.
Yeah, me neither. How about the time that her husband Bill got a ringing
Order filled.
endorsement from none other than an alien? The tabloids have had a lot to say about UFOs over the years.
Order filled.
Former First Family. And speaking of religion,
Order filled.
have been for this full show, aliens apparently
Order
aren't
filled.
Catholic or Jewish or Buddhist, according to the
Order
tabloids.
filled.
They worship Oprah Winfrey.
Order filled.
And even America's biggest sporting event isn't safe from our extraterrestrial friends because according to the tabs, aliens have used mind control in the Super Bowl. Stop the madness, you say? I'm with you. The newly elected Pope may just be the guy to do it. Pope Leo XIV is American, but also Peruvian. And Peru is a country with ancient roots to the unknown. If you've ever heard of the Nazca lines, you'll know that they're a group of massive symbols that are carved into the soil in southern Peru. And the largest among them stretches almost a quarter.
What keeps me motivated?
plate. Getting real. Let's see what we got. Oof. Nice and easy. Another tour. Oof.
While the department has yet to come up with any conclusive proof of aliens, they may be barking up the wrong tree because on the other side of the world lies an archive with thousands of years of secrets just sitting on miles and miles of shelving. And now Peru has an inside man. Okay, that's it for the special, but I always encourage you, please check out my podcast, Drop Dead Serious. A little different, huge special tonight with Part 11. We talk about all the secrets in the Diddy case, including the fact that the star witness, Cassie, is pregnant. On the stand and pregnant. Check it out, Drop Dead Serious. Part 11's my guest. Stay tuned now.
Hey everybody, welcome to News Nation.
Ooh.
Today the world saw the white smoke, and for the first time in history, an American pope will now be the leader of 1.4 billion Catholics around the world. 6:07 p.m. Vatican time. That's when 69-year-old Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost of Chicago, Illinois, was elected by the conclave and took the name Leo XIV. And Pope Leo, he grew up in the southern suburb of Chicago. He attended Villanova University in Pennsylvania, where he studied philosophy. He earned a degree in mathematics. He later joined the Order of St. Augustine in St. Louis, Missouri. And in 1982, he was officially
Nice and easy, baby.
in Rome.
Let's go.
Pope later relocated to Peru, where he served in various missions. In 2023, he then moved his ministry to the Vatican, where he has been until now. Because Pope Leo XIV is now the first American to lead the Catholic Church, we of course do what we do as Americans best, and we make memes. Look at the Chicagoans saying new pope serving body of Christ. Sundays at the Vatican are about to be lit. Knicks fans comparing Pope Leo to fellow Villanova grad Jalen Brunson, and Americans all over, they are celebrating the first pope in 2,000 years from the United States of America. The late Pope Francis himself brought Pope Leo to the Vatican just a few years ago. Here's what the new pope had to say about that. Take a listen.
I think I do have some insights into the church in the United States. So the need to be able to
All right, guys. So you can see, I was in my bag. I don't do too much talking when I'm barbell squat. I try to save as much gas, shoot, as I can for my set. I took your 5 for a spin for 8. Could have got 10, but my back still a little fatigued from banging deads a few days ago, so I ain't want to push it too much. The set of 8 was good because I did sets of 8 on my way all the way up, and I got more leg work to do. So, I'm gonna catch my breath real quick, clean up my mesh, and I'll see y'all at the next exercise. Let's get it. All right, guys. So now we on to this good old flex leg press, baby. We're gonna hit a few sets over here. Work up to a heavy set. Let's get it. We already pretty warm, so we got 5 plates on here to start off with. Slow, deep, and control reps, man. It's really good too after squats, so they help stretch their lower back out, get all that blood from sitting down in their lower butt and their lower back. So we're gonna do sets of 8 over here too. I'll probably do 4 sets over here. We're gonna play it up by 2 each set till we get to the top set. Then we're gonna move on. Woo!
It seems like America gets so much hate around the world. People want us to think that nobody likes
Two, let's go. Yep. Yeah. Let's get it, baby. Nice and easy. Oh. Woo. It's different when you take it slow, baby. Jeez Louise. See, them boys trying to look good in tank tops. We trying to look good in pockets, you heard? Huh. Them boys want to wear tight shirts, big pants, hide them legs so they skip my legs. We ain't rocking like that, homie. Ah. Woo. Nice slow control, baby. Years on me.
Just fucking care. Maybe it's DNA.
All right, guys.
That's some good fucking
That was
legs.
set 3. That was the top jump for that. We got 8 for 8. Taking a nice slow control, baby. You feel it so much more when you slow it down and control it. Now we're going to take it back down. I'm going to take it down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold on. Oh, that was 9 plays. I thought that was 8. So I jumped the gun on myself. So I'll take 2 plates off there. And now I'm going to take 3 off. I'm going to take 3 plates off and take this 6 plates for a spin. And that'll be the final set on leg press. Then we're going to go get some other work in. I'm going to touch the hamstrings. I'm going to get some extensions in today. And I plan to get some abductor and glute training in as well. So y'all stay tuned, man. Drop that 100 for your boy if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Let's get this channel to 30K, man. 30K subs. We almost there, baby. Let's go. All right. Let's get this last set out the way, baby. It's the last hard set, guys. Good. Oh, yeah. Last hard move. Yeah. It wasn't too bad. Wasn't too bad at all. So I guess we'll go over to these, I guess we're gonna knock these hamstrings out the box real quick. Wise open. Go get on these hamstrings off. I clean my mess up over here, and now I see y'all over there.
I think we're gonna run it. Y'all gonna run it all the way out that terrain.
Alright guys, well now we on these cedar hamstrings. Y'all know these are my joints right here. We just gonna do 4 sets right here. And then we gonna go to some quad extensions and get on the abductors if it's open. I ain't gonna wait on the door. If they ain't open, I'm gonna find something else to do. Whew. Let's get it. Oh yeah. Your toes pointed on here. Oh. Oh. Oh yeah. 30 more reps on these bad boys. It's hard to get a good angle with the tripod, especially on this exercise. The gym's starting to pick up. There's a lot more people coming in. We're getting closer to prime time, so y'all gotta bear with me with the angles and things like that. But technically, you ain't supposed to have tripods in the gym, but Joe showed me so much love. He don't mind. He make an exception for your boy. Ooh, so let me see if I can find a better angle for these next couple sets.
Come on, baby. Set 2. This nigga got a fucking hoodie stay soft and weak. That's what I'm talking about. You niggas is soft and weak. I need that hoodie, boy.
It's not just, in the Midwest United States, right? So, yeah, I'm sure there's going to be tension at certain points. But, that's all part of it. But, again, we bow to Jesus, to the Holy Spirit.
Look at this. The Ukrainian army recorded the process of being attacked by a Russian drone from a first-person perspective. It was a very tragic explosion. The drone hit the vehicle accurately. Casualties were inevitable. Under the looming threat of another drone strike, Ukrainian soldiers tended to their wounds amidst the wreckage. With their vehicle completely destroyed, they had no choice but to consider retreating on foot. In the Kursk region, the Ukrainian army is still trying to advance. They sent infantry fighting vehicles and all-terrain vehicles to try to break through the Russian defense line, but were blocked by Russian airborne troops and scouts. You can see that the Ukrainian army has deployed more armored forces, but they have all been ruthlessly attacked by Russian drones. The armored convoy came under relentless attack along the road, turning the path into a familiar scene of destruction. Once again littered with twisted metal and wreckage, the infamous Highway of Death reemerges. Look at this. The Ukrainian army recorded the process of being attacked by a... According to pro-Russian channels, the Ukrainian army lost up to 10 sets of equipment in the battle, and they were unable to cross the border into Russia.
Joe Biden trying to come back. Joe Biden said, bitch, I ain't out of here.
A Russian drone crossed the contact line and penetrated 30 kilometers into the front line, successfully locating a Ukrainian HIMARS multiple rocket launcher system. An attack drone was quickly deployed, striking and destroying the high-value asset.
Make America great again.
Russian special forces are engaged in an intense battle against Ukrainian naval drones in the Black Sea. Using onboard machine guns and a variety of heavy weapons, Russian troops are attempting to destroy the fast-approaching drones before they can reach their target, a high-stakes encounter on the water.
That nigga Joe said
As you
it
can
ain't
see,
over now.
Ukrainian forces remotely controlled a
get it
naval
fucking
drone
twisted,
in an attempt to strike Russian vessels from behind. However, the Russian side responded with overwhelming firepower, successfully destroying the drone before it could reach its target. Meanwhile, another Ukrainian unmanned boat continued its assault on the Russian vessel. As it closed the distance, the missiles mounted on the drone became clearly visible. However, it was struck by Russian machine gun fire, lost mobility, and was ultimately destroyed.
Come on, baby. Take over, got me fucking working. What is that? Kill it. Oh no.
Пошли.
This is archival video from the Ukrainian side. A commando team in an armored vehicle is about to launch an attack, but just as they reach the edge of the war zone, they step on a landmine. The explosion left the soldier in the video seriously wounded. The intense pain made him cry out repeatedly, so I muted the audio to spare viewers the distressing sounds. Two Russian drones are relentlessly clearing Ukrainian positions. Day or night makes no difference. Even when soldiers set up barriers to resist the assault, the psychological pressure from constant drone threats remains intense. After the first drone strike, the drone operator will assess the damage. After confirming that the target has been destroyed, the drone will immediately attack the next bunker. During the drone flight, no Ukrainian soldiers were seen in the open area, and they were all hiding in the bunkers. What is surprising is that there is no obstruction at the entrance of this bunker, and a drone can easily fly into the bunker and cause a completely fatal impact. From the playback footage, we can see that a Ukrainian soldier was resting in the bunker and seemed not to be worried about the arrival of the drone at all. And seeing playback footage, we can see that a Ukrainian soldier was resting in the bunker and seemed not to be worried about the arrival of the drone at all. A Ukrainian soldier hid in a damaged house to avoid a drone attack, but he forgot to close the door, and the drone easily found him, ending his mission. The Ukrainian army is using ground robotic systems to deliver ammunition and supplies to frontline soldiers, but this has not escaped Russian detection.
Build your head up, Joe. God damn it, Joe.
Molniya 2 drones attacked the temporary strongholds of the Ukrainian army in the ruins. The Russian army equipped this drone with TM-62 anti-tank mines, which can easily blow up the entire building. Drone footage captured 2 Russian soldiers clearing a Ukrainian bunker. 2 Russian soldiers are positioned at the top of the frame, while a Ukrainian bunker lies at the bottom. A fierce firefight erupts between the 2 sides at a distance of less than 5 meters. At such close quarters, every breath, every movement could mean life or death.
We might have to watch that. That might be good for love. I might watch that when I get in my room. That motherfucker, that might be a good reaction. This nigga Joe.
The video shows fierce resistance from the Ukrainian side, with grenades being thrown repeatedly from inside. However, they held no tactical advantage. Once the defensive line was breached and reinforcements failed to arrive, their fate was sealed, total annihilation.
Damn, Joe. God damn, Joe. Why y'all got Joe looking like that on TV, man? This nigga Joe said, man, I'm sleepy. I'm sleepy. That nigga got dementia Joe. This nigga Joe said, I'm sleepy, bro. So you ain't sleepy. See a drone.
While evacuating the wounded, the Russian army was suddenly attacked by a Ukrainian drone. Fortunately, the vigilant soldiers reacted quickly and successfully shot it down to avoid any harm. The entire incident was filmed from a Russian soldier's first-person perspective, vividly showing the tense moments on the battlefield. The armored convoy of Russia's 39th Motorized Rifle Brigade launched a rapid assault, aiming to deliver troops to the edge of a Ukrainian-held settlement. To achieve this, they had to penetrate a deadly barrage of Ukrainian artillery fire. As they advanced, shells rained down along the route, landing dangerously close to the convoy. However, skilled Russian drivers managed to navigate through the fire zone, pushing straight toward their objective. But artillery wasn't the only threat. Ukrainian FPV drones and hidden minefields posed an even greater challenge. Still, the Russian armored vehicles, reportedly modified for better battlefield survivability, maintained their speed under constant attack and successfully deployed troops on the settlement's edge. At the end of the video, we have arranged a video collection of drone attacks. Thank you again for watching. If you like our video, Please like it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We will continue to bring you the latest information on the battlefield.
I'm Patrick Lancaster, and right now we are on the eve of Armageddon. At least that's one of the threats that's coming out of Pakistan. The Pakistan defense minister said if the existence of Pakistan is threatened, no one will survive. And he went on to say, we will not allow any other country to live on this planet without us. God forbid, but it will be so. And there's been several translations of exactly what he said, but that's the gist of it. The fighting has been reported to have intensified heavily over the last 24 hours, and this includes planes being shot down reportedly from both sides. There's even some images and videos that are coming out of a supposed Indian aircraft and Pakistani aircraft being shot down, or in the aftermath of being shot down. And the Pakistani army says there has been 24 killed and 46 injured. India is saying 10 people were killed and 48 injured in the Pakistan attacks on India. And India has declared the start of Operation Sindoor, which they say is aimed to dismantle terrorist camps and terrorist organizations in Pakistan and the Pakistani-controlled territories of Kashmir and Jammu. The airspace in Pakistan has been completely closed, purportedly, and flights are being diverted to other locations. So I'm not an expert on exactly what's happening in India and Pakistan, but this is huge. Both countries have nuclear weapons, and one country is threatening Armageddon, basically. So I think it's important for me to help show the world a little bit of what's happening, maybe a little bit of a perspective that they won't see in at least the way I'm going to show it. So with your help, I think it's time that I go to or at least as close to the contact line as possible to show you what's happening, or what information I can find out. Maybe I'll get right there up close to the contact line. Maybe I'll get a little farther back. Who knows? But with your help, if you're willing to support my work, I'm going to be headed to India, to the border with Pakistan, to show you exactly what I can see happening there with my own eyes. No narrative, it's not my fights, but I'm going to show you what I can find out, what information I can find out. Let's look a little bit more at information that's coming out right now for the time being until I get there. And of course, Pakistan has said that India's strike on Pakistani territory and Pakistan-controlled territory of Kashmir is an act of war. Now, this border conflict is one of the oldest, if not the oldest, active border conflict in the world. And there's been many reports and footage coming out also of military equipment on both sides, but
La Tchétchénie, une petite république de la Fédération de Russie, aujourd'hui aux mains d'un seul homme, le président Ramzan Kadyrov, un proche de Vladimir Poutine. Son clan, devenu richissime, sème la terreur dans tout le pays. Ses membres les plus importants s'affichent au volant de voitures de luxe portant les initiales du président, KPA, pour Kadyrov, Ramzan Ahmedovich. Un passe-droit signe de toute puissance, qui autorise d'ailleurs à porter une arme. Nous sommes au mariage de Saïd, un jeune chirurgien qui a des amis tout proches du pouvoir. Son cortège doit impressionner les badauds et il emprunte les artères les plus prestigieuses de la ville. Une démonstration de force avant d'aller chercher la mariée. Sauf qu'en Tchétchénie, le marié ne doit jamais être en contact avec sa future femme pendant les 3 jours que va durer la cérémonie. Alors Saïd se cache discrètement à l'arrière d'une voiture.
Только что проходило тактическое занятие у северокорейских войск, которые здесь нам помогают, которые обучаются в Курской области. И вот сейчас мы видим, как большие группы ребята возвращаются с задачи. Задача была рассредоточиться в лесу и отрабатывать свои квадраты. Вы видите, что уже и экипировка, снаряжение, хорошо владеют оружием, уже
사가 백꽃 만발하게 피고 강구에는 안개 흐르네 가축산 강수경 안에 넓고 푸른 강수로 사가 백꽃 만발하게 피고 강구에는 안개 흐르네 가축산 강수경 안에 넓고 푸른 강수로
The armed forces of the Russian Federation
backs it up again. Why not just block her? And she's raised almost $1 million, so she's now going to be a millionaire. And that's because of you, it seems like.
Well, it's definitely not because of me. It's because of people donating to her, which I'm not one of them. We're a platform, so people are donating to her from a variety of different places. But the deeper question, one is, why do we allow campaigns that even we sometimes may disagree with? Well, because in America, we have freedoms that came at a very high price, and that was the blood of men and women that gave up their lives so that we can live in a society where even things that we disagree with can be spoken about. But there's also other aspects to this whole thing, which is, what do we give to the mob to be able to go after people with a snapshot of their life blown over social media as a way to completely destroy them? And this mob mentality has absolutely ruined so many people's lives over the past several years. And we can actually just look in the recent past. 3 weeks ago, in Nevada, a veterinarian who was giving some medicine. So let's just clarify some of the facts. So one, we don't know the ages. I'm just going to clarify some of the facts. We don't know the age of this child, so that's contestant rate number one. The boy was rummaging through her belongings, which caused the backlash. So it wasn't like she unprovoked just stepped into a situation and called a young boy a term. It was because this boy, who some people say is as old as 10 years old, was actually stealing from her. And she said, no, it doesn't excuse, I don't condone calling people racial epithets and bad names at all. But there is a place for,
Are a gun.
the boy and his family that raised $350,000. So is that condoning, is that thievery or stealing? I don't see the outrage against GoFundMe for allowing.
I just don't understand how when you watch that video and then see what she posted on your site. And again, big picture, I hear what you're saying about mob mentality, cancel culture. I do. But that video just bothered me so much. And then to see what she wrote again, I'm just thinking if I owned the site and I controlled it, you know, you could pick and choose. You could say this is not good. We're a Christian site. Like, no.
Well, no, that's true. We can't pick and choose, and what we realize is that the mission of Gibson goes to share the hope of Jesus in dark moments, and we realize that Shiloh is going to shine just as much as this other family is, and we want to be a light in all of these moments in the way that you approach them.
It's $1 million. It's money. It's not a light. You're not going to go and say, hey, let me help you learn how to be a better person. Let's figure out what to use that. We actually got $1 million.
Well, from small donations, average donation size, I think around $30 a person, so not massive amounts by individuals, and that's partially fueled also by
giving your perspective, Jacob Wells. Thank you for coming on with us.
Great, thank you very much. Appreciate it, Brian.
Okay, coming up next, how was a dead man, such an interesting story, a dead man able to confront his killer in court? It actually happened. You're going to see it for yourself. We'll find out why some are saying this could create big problems for our legal system. It all has to do with AI right after the break.
Bipolar 1 can overwhelm your mind. Sometimes depressive lows and unpredictable highs can make it hard to get out of your head. Finding relief may help you break free. Ask about Vraylar. Some medicines only treat the lows or highs. Vraylar treats depressive, acute manic, and mixed episodes of bipolar 1 in adults. Proven full-spectrum relief for all bipolar 1 symptoms. Vraylar isn't approved for elderly patients with dementia-related psychosis due to increased risk of death or stroke. Report changes in behavior or suicidal thoughts to your doctor. Antidepressants can increase these in children and young adults. Report fever, stiff muscles, or confusion, which may be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. High blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death. Weight gain and high cholesterol may occur. Difficulty moving, tremors, slower uncontrolled body movements, restlessness, and feeling like you need to move. Sleepiness, nausea, vomiting, and indigestion are common. Side effects may not appear for weeks. Vraylar, breaking through to
Accredited. Go and check them out. We love them so much. And Micah, who can we not forget?
Primary Arms, and I'm kind of sad we don't have one of their optics on the rifle to abuse it as well.
Yeah. But, I mean, you can get your own. Just use discount code KevinIsLame, and this is how it goes. Yeah.
And of course, if you want to get better at shooting,
Mantis. So, it allows you to dry fire when usually people would freak out. Your home, parking lot.
So Mantis is a device that will turn your weapon into a dry fire machine, allows you to get that trigger reset and practice well. We love them. And of course, a big thank you to AAC Ammunition. They of course sponsor our ammo. It's all 77 grain serum matching. So what we do have to say is that AAC is a subsidiary of PSA. We are obviously going pretty in depth on a PSA upper. So there is the question of the fact that we're getting ammunition and we're doing a review of one of their uppers. What is the conflict of interest there? So here at Grand Thumb, we're never told to give good reviews. We're never paid to give good reviews. We don't do that. We are always as non-biased as we can possibly be. If this sucks, it's going to suck. And that's just the way it is. But it should be noted, of course, that we want to be completely transparent as to the fact that we do receive ammunition from the AAC, although nothing directly from PSA. So, with all that being said, let's get into the test.
Not once has PSA asked us to be non-binary with their product, so thank you, PSA.
Now, we are not documenting every single round that we're firing. We're doing a lot of training with this rifle, so understand that. The point of this is not to burn the rifle down. That's not what we're trying to do. Now, we are trying to do accelerated wear. And we're doing that with suppressor. It is a flow through, so there's less back pressure compared to like a normal baffled suppressor. And we're running an auto, which is going to massively increase the amount of wear on both the bolt and the system in general. And if we wanted, we could just run mag after mag until this thing burned out. And every AR will fail around the 900 round mark if you just do them back to back to back. That's not the point. We're not trying to watch the gas tube blow up, because that's what's going to happen. We're trying to document for you in extremely hard usage how long will this $300 rifle last. What is the wear pattern going to be like? If we're running this thing like a straight up duty gun, like we would a URGI, how does it compare to like a $1,000 gun? How does it compare to a $4,000 gun? These are questions I want the answer to, because I'm really interested. It's only $300 for this upper. Can it really hang with other uppers that cost 4, 6, 8 times that price? Interested to find out. So we begin. the PSA $300 upper is now at 2K rounds. We have just grouped it. I would say this is past the break-in point for a barrel.
2K for sure.
So Mikey, we're also firing this on really fast, aka auto. So Mikey just grouped it with 77 grain AAC. Go ahead, man.
All right, take it away. So I was a little nervous using an ACOG, you know, just reticle and all that good stuff. But for the viewers out there, this is a 1 MOA square. So, I mean, if we were to put that up, we would be, I would call that either an MOA or just under an MOA.
Smidge under.
And then obviously I did have a flyer. This was my first shot.
You're a little nervous boy.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, I'm pretty blown away. Not only the fact that it's a $300 upper, the fact that that was with an ACOG. If that doesn't say that it's capable, I don't know.
100% capable, man. And we'll shoot it at 600 now to show you that it's capable of making the long shots as well.
So I feel like as a data point, we should probably run her back one more time. I mean, this was our first legitimate group.
Another group, shoot her long, and then continue to burn it down because fuck this upper, right?
That is the first one.
Don't have them on the show.
Honestly, dude, so you had that first round. That was that flyer.
So these three would be like an MOA. That would make it like.
Juice, boy. And if you don't want to take the juice, don't let them on the show.
Yeah, and again, just watching it, Stacey, it clearly had an impact. It was very, very.
The prop firm world is shaking up right now with massive changes. You got Top Step talking about giving you a bonus when you do well, but hold on, you can't use that money right away. You got Take Profit Trader being clear on their news. You have Top One saying, hey, yeah, we got to remain healthy for the company, and then flipping around and paying the affiliates more. Then you got Apex with a brand new rule they just dropped. You're not going to want to miss this, as well as Bulanox putting caps on their master accounts. Let's get into it. Buckle up, guys, because the trading world is insane right now. You got curveballs coming left and right. It looks like it's the 2003 World Series of the Yankees against the Marlins already, because things are just absolutely insane out there right now. You have Top Step that just sent out a mass email to everybody and letting them know, hey, these are the bonuses we're going to pay you in your live accounts. And do you think you can put that money in your pocket right away, guys, and go buy something when you hit that goal and they come and say, hey, here's your bonus. Here's $5,000. Here's $20,000. Here's $100,000. We're going to dive into the details on that, because there's some fine print you might have missed. You got Apex coming out here dropping a brand spanking new rule that spanked a few people along the way, but rest assured they're going to fix those that were affected retroactively, so that's some good news there. You got Take Profit Trader. I got an email directly from them letting us know exactly how we can trade and when we can trade regarding which news catalysts. And then we have Bulanox busting out with a cap on your master account and Top One. We're like, what are we doing here? They said we're going to change the rules because we got to make sure that the firm stays healthy, but now they're going to pay affiliates more? That's very weird. We're going to jump into all of this and more one by one in this video and find out what it means for you, what it means for me as traders. As we move further, make sure to smash that like button for me and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Until let's go. Guys, remember that I will be giving you at the end of this video the rules on how to win a $50,000 evaluation that will be announced on the channel. Did you get this email from Top Step? I bet you got super excited when you saw it. As a matter of fact, some of you guys know that a while back I went on a little adventure, got myself a combine, 150K, passed it, and then said I'm going to build this up and see if I get myself to live and see what all the fuss is about with live accounts at Top Step, right? Going to the big leagues and all that stuff. And I built the account up to $15,000 in change. I've taken about $3,000 in profit out of the account, and I'm looking to take another $1,000 out here pretty soon, maybe more. I'm going to really think about it now because I wanted to build it out to where I got to my 5th payout, got sent to live, and I had at least $10,000 to $15,000 in the account in order to have decent little balance to trade live with. And then when I got this email, I was like, oh shit, maybe this is worth it after all. But we're going to dive into the nitty gritty of this, the meats and potatoes, if you will, and we'll check the fine print to see what it has to say. Earning a live funded account means you're trading at the highest level. We believe that traders who make it to this level and continue to perform deserve more than just a pat on the back. I agree. If you're trading for a prop firm and they want you to stick with them for the live account stuff, they gotta be more than just giving you a couple thousand to trade in. They gotta start giving you some extra incentives to stay there with them. The Top Step X live performance bonus gives traders the opportunity to earn over $250,000 in bonus payouts for consistent profitable trading. As your trading grows, so does your bonus, one level at a time. At work, at a business that you own, at a real proprietary firm, when you get bonuses, that's because you've hit a milestone right? That's because a goal has been reached and surpassed, and the company says, here's a bonus for your performance. And typically, that's money you put in your pocket. And when we scroll on down here, we look at it, we're like, damn, you know, you make $15,000, which I've done over 15,000 in my XFA. Of course, this is for live accounts, not XFAs. You'd get $1,000. I'd use $1,000. Oh yeah, I'll take $1,000. Thank you very freaking much. 20K, $5,000. 50K, $10,000. We're getting some big numbers now. 100K, $20,000. Pretty damn good. All the way up to $1 million. If you hit $1 million in your live account, they will give you a performance bonus of $100,000. 100K. That's not chump change. You could do a lot with 100K. And then here's what to know. All live profits starting May 7th count towards your bonus. After 5 p.m. Central Time of the May 6th trading session. There you go. Finish the trading day above a profit level to unlock the bonus and move up. Earn 1 bonus per calendar month and advance 1 level at a time. So if you make 15,000, you'll get 1,000. But then if that same month you make 20K, which is very, very, very possible in the volatility we have, you won't get that 5,000 because it's only once per month. All live profits count even after you withdraw. Well, yeah, why would it not count after you withdraw? Each level is paid once per live funded account. Okay. No minimum trading days are required to qualify, but this is where it happens. What do you mean, Jesse? This is where what happens? This is where the fucking commences. Disclaimer: the live performance bonus LPB for that is a promotional trading credit deposited by Top Step Fund LLC, also known as Top Step, into a trader's live funded account solely for trading purposes under the live funded account agreement and trader information and trading rules. The LPB is not cash, cannot be withdrawn directly, and is subject to trading risk and losses. So you made it to that goal. Congratulations. Here's an extra $1,000 in your account. It's a bonus. Hold on one second.
Filled.
You wanted to go take the family on a little weekend
Order
getaway
filled.
with that $1,000? No, you can't. Because it's not for you to use. Not in your pocket, not in the retail environment. It's for you to just leave it in that account and trade with it. Not really a bonus, it's more leverage. It's really what it comes down to. So if you read a little bit more, LPB related profits are eligible for withdrawal. So if you make some extra profit on the account, how would they know? Would you have to utilize your entire account's margin in order for that to qualify? Like how would you know, right? So LPB related profits are eligible for withdrawal only after meeting all applicable performance targets, payout prices, trading rules, and eligibility requirements, subject to Top Step's approval in its sole discretion. Bonus terms, conditions, and eligibility may be modified, revoked, or terminated at any time without prior notice, including for violations of trading rules or regulatory requirements. Participation in the LPB program is subject to all applicable laws, rules, and regulations, including those of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission and the National Futures Association. And then we go on to a little bit of a
the National Futures
so
Association
you're telling me you did really well this month. You made $20,000. So let's see, what bonus do you get, Jesse? Well, you get $5,000 bonus. I'd be like, bet, nice. I could buy a nice watch for $5,000, or I can take the family on a pretty nice little cruise for quite a few days on $5,000. Or we can go on another vacation, or I can use it
you
to
don't
buy
get none
something
of
for
that,
my
boy.
goals.
You ain't gonna
You
get
know,
none of that,
maybe
boy.
you don't
It's a
want to
trap.
invest half of
The
that in the
fuckery,
kid's
boy. The
portfolio
fuck.
that she has, her investment portfolio. Oh, hold on, Jesse. What? No, silly. You can't use this money for anything. Well, what do you mean? You're giving me a bonus. I hit $20,000 goal profit target. You said you'd give me a bonus, right? Yeah, we said we'd give you a bonus, but it's really just credited to your account, and you can use it for trading if you want. The profits you make on it, you can keep. But yeah, the $5,000, nah, that's not yours. Then it's not a fucking bonus, bro. It's not a bonus. What is it? It is more leverage on my account because I reached a milestone. Cool, call it that. Tell me, hey guys, you know what? You guys, if you hit certain milestones, we're going to deposit more money in your trading account that you can use to trade with. Not for you to put in your pocket, but it's more leverage for you to be able to make more money. We want you to trade more of our money.
You can pull up to 50%.
Trader. That's what you should say. That's the type of marketing that would work on this, because it's the truth. Yo, bro, you've done such an amazing job that I'm gonna put an extra $5,000, an extra $20,000, an extra $100,000 in your trading account because I want you trading bigger using my money. You see how that works? That's how that's done. This feels like you're bullshitting me so hard. And there's nothing worse for an educated consumer, an educated trader, than the feeling that they're getting bullshitted. And this isn't scripted. This is me saying exactly how I feel about this as I read it. Come on, man, do better. And breaking news, you've been hearing about on social media a few people saying, hey, I had some Apex PAs that vanished and they're completely gone and now I don't know what to do. So what's been happening apparently is that Apex had deleted accounts that were dormant, that people were not using and were just sitting in their dashboards. You have to understand that all these prop firms pay data for all these accounts that you have. So if you just have the account just sitting there, well, you know, they don't want that happening. They want you to use them. But these accounts have been sitting some for like over 200 days with no one touching them. So of course, that's why some of these issues have risen where they had disappeared, but that's still not good practice and they are fixing it. If this happened to you, your account will be reinstated, I've been told. And when you come over here to their FAQ section, after I get funded, how many days and how often am I required to trade? This is brand new. It just came out a day ago. Inactivity policy now in effect for Apex PAs. At Apex Trade, an account are subject to being breached with Apex associated with any account that 180 days. An inactivity of account closure upon closure 80 days. That's this payouts, and then later we're like, all right, we're gonna stop this. We're changing the rules, and if you buy an said this is. Ooh, let's be real here. Make sure your accounts actually get reinstated if they had applied this rule to you retroactively, which they say they are going to go ahead and fix on all those accounts that were mistakenly deleted as this was implemented, you know, broadly throughout the entire prop firm. Now, what else is being applied? Check this out. Speaking of new right here, top one. You remember a few days ago, or maybe about a week almost ago, I made a video talking about top one changing their payout structures and some rules because they were like, we're hemorrhaging a little bit too much money out here. And I mentioned to you, I said, this is one of two things in my opinion. Number one, it was a marketing ploy from the get-go, making those super easy rules to draw in traders, getting them in there and having them trade, get payouts, and then later we're like, all right, we're gonna stop this, we're changing the rules, and if you buy an account starting on X date, these will be the new rules for those accounts, which in my opinion is the proper way to ever change any rule. Well, they did that because they realized that either it was a marketing ploy and they had to do it, they were gonna do it, or they realized that they were losing too much money doing it that way, right? Or making less money, because I find it hard to believe that a lot of these firms lose money. Anyways, if you are doing it because you're paying out too much money and you know we want to make sure we stay solvent, then it makes no sense to say, okay, well, you know what, we're gonna give away more money. It doesn't make sense to say, you know what, I think we're gonna give our affiliates more money right now because why not? You know, look, this is directly from them. They sent this to their affiliates. With that in mind, we want to do something excited to kickstart May. Something to help you make even more money while we work on this next milestone. From May 1st to the 16th, we're getting an extra 10% commission